She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. I hope today's show has found you in a great mood on purpose and that you've chosen to make your life better today. Well, guess what? Today's show is going to be so practical, so simple, that I'm going to show you how your grocery cart can take you on your dream vacations. Not dream vacation, dream vacations. How you'll be able to live a much more fulfilling life based on what does not land in your grocery cart. What? Come on, you've heard your mama and your grandma say, you are what you eat. Be careful, do you want to put that in your mouth? You've heard that, right? I know my mom used to say that to me, but it's true. What goes into your grocery cart has a huge impact on your lifestyle. How you live, how many times a year you go on vacation, where you vacation to, what kind of clothes you buy or don't buy. Yes, what lands in the grocery cart. Yeah, I'm telling you the truth. So today, you're going to have the opportunity to lose some weight, and you're going to have the opportunity to learn how you can go after the things that really are important to you, that matter more to you than what's landing in the cart. I don't know about you, but I am working on myself with making myself a little less reactionary and a little bit more purposed with my actions. And instead of, responding to things that are happening all around me. In fact, I got to tell you what I did today, like a stupid fool. Yeah, I was outside and this morning, and I felt this kind of tugging on my heart. I don't know how you spend your mornings, but I have a tendency to spend my mornings with earplugs in my ears, the best success book ever written on my lap, and I began to study and learn and glean from the best success book ever written, which is the Bible. Anyway, and after that, I usually spend some time talking to the author of the book. He's really amazing to talk to, and he's so loving and sweet and precious. And he gives me a little pat on the backside whenever I need it. And today was one of those days. Anyway, so the author of that book kind of drew me outside and to go for a walk and to just talk to him while I was walking. And oh boy, he began to say some really amazing things. And then as I was passing my house, because I went up the hill first, and then as I was passing my house, I saw my sprinkler. And my sprinkler, I had moved it in the garden day before yesterday. And by the way, while I was in the garden, I wear a big old hat to keep the sun off of me, and I wear sleeves all the way down. I have an old man's shirt that I wear, and then gloves, and then I have my pants tucked into my socks, and then I have my shoes on because I am allergic to almost every stinking bug that's here at my house, and I swell up really big when I get bit by even mosquito bites. I swell up. Well, I managed to not get bit while I was in the garden for an hour. I come in, I'm starting to rinse off all the vegetables and everything, and I roll up my sleeves, and sure enough, I got bit by something that blew my hand up to 3 times the size, not my hand, my whole forearm and my hand blew up 3 times the size of my normal hand. Anyway, so I'm out there today. Okay, so I get bit Saturday, actually. And so today I'm walking by, and I notice the sprinkler is not exactly where it's supposed to be. So right away, I react. So I detour from my walk and this amazing conversation that I'm having with the best author that has ever been brought into existence. That would be God Almighty. And he's the best artist. As I was out there walking and just looking at the beauty of the hills and all the trees and the gorgeous sky with the big white clouds in it and the periwinkle blue that I'm looking at, man, just feeling the air on my skin, and bam, I see the thing, I'm like, oh, and I right away take a detour. I walk through the gate. I get into the garden. Again, I don't have my socks on. I don't have the long shirt. I don't have the hat on. I'm not like fully covered like in armor away from the stupid red ants that come from hell. Anyway, so I go in there. It's going to take 2 seconds. I literally walk. I go to just move the sprinkler. Sure enough, I got bit by fire ants. They make me swell up huge. I get huge, nasty blisters from those suckers. It sets my whole foot on fire. So sure enough, I felt it. I mean, literally, like instantly, even though the water was going, and that usually won't happen. If the water is there, the ants are usually not right there. And that's what it was. I just said, Lord, I'm sorry. Look at that. I took a detour. I totally got off track for that moment of having this amazing time out here with you. I got set on a task, and that's what I'm working on right now. Because we in this culture, and for me, like this is something I'm working on myself, and I've been working on it this year. Obviously, I failed this morning, of not reacting. Not like, and it wasn't like I was upset. It was just like, oh, I need to go fix that. Now is the time to do that. Like, ugh. No, I should have stayed on task. I would have saved my foot. I would have gone into the house, put my socks on before I went out there, because I know better every single time I go into my garden to pick vegetables or to pull weeds or to adjust the sprinklers or whatever, just to check on it, to look at it. If I do it without fully armored, I'm going to be bit by something that makes me swell and itch and be on fire and turn red and get infected. So anyway, but we're not talking about gardening today. We're talking about that you are what you eat, and that what you don't put into your grocery cart can take you to all the places that you want to go around the world. So wait a minute, Dani, what does it have to do with your garden? It has to do with being reactionary and being compelled by a thought or a craving. And that craving that then ends up in our grocery cart. You see, we're surrounded in a grocery store, even at the gas station, right? The little mini mart, or even at a Starbucks. We are being pressed on. I don't know if you realize that, but we are being provoked to say yes to something that grows our belt loop to a bigger size, that grows our jackets to a bigger size, that causes us to put then more strain on our joints as our poor knees and our hips have to hold up our whole selves. And this all starts with being compelled, being provoked, being called upon, and going, yes, I want that. And so what I want today's show to do for both you and me is maybe just a realignment, a readjustment of being able to think more clearly and more purposed about where we want to go, what we want to do. And I know this works, my friend, because I used to live my life in nothing but utter chaos, 100 hours a week, never seeing my husband or my kids, and had no life, never had any fun. I mean, it was a terrible life that resulted in a heart attack and a nervous breakdown at 24 and 25. So then I had learned how to manage my time differently and to be more in control and to have self-control, right? And I'm not saying control freak. I'm just saying be more in control of what was going through my head and what I was responding to. So today on the Dani Johnson Show, we're just going to kind of take a quick pause and look at what drives us to put what into that grocery cart. But once we realign ourselves and we have a need or a desire or a goal that's bigger than the ho-hos, do you know what I'm talking about? Or the Little Debbies. The Little Debbies, you know what I mean? Do you have those? I know they have them in California. I know they have them in Texas. I know they have them in most parts of the country. But they're these stale pies. They're like these little stale cakes with like marshmallow in them. The Little Debbie's has all different kinds, but they're disgusting. And yet there we are, right, at the grocery store, and we go in there hungry. And because we didn't plan a little bit ahead, and because we lost sight of our goals, our financial goal, whether part of that financial goal was paying off all of our debt or going on a dream vacation to some exotic, gorgeous, amazing place like Seychelles or Bora Bora, or going to Israel or going to South America or Antarctica. I'm going in January. You know what I'm saying? Or going off to Fiji or going to China and seeing the Great Wall. We have all these things we say we want to do, but because we have other things that are pressing on us and they're closer in view because they're so close in view, we don't see the goal that we have, and we respond instantly to that tugging, that longing, that craving. So today you're going to learn how to say no to things that really don't matter and that are not helping you get to where you want to go, and how to say yes to things that are far more important to you. So what did I have to learn? I not only learned how to manage my time, but I learned how to design my life. See, I have a big heart for seeing the poor taken care of. It does. It tugs on me, right? So just like this Kadwa Haiti project that we're working on, I know that if you've listened to the show every day, you've heard at least something about it. But, here's this pastor who is over this little village of 2,000. The earthquake came in 2010 and destroyed their whole village, destroyed their water, destroyed their food, destroyed their houses. I mean, it's a terrible, terrible setup where you see a grandma living in, banana leaves put over a rope and it's on the ground and she's sleeping on the dirt and she just has this little tiny space that she just slips her body in, right? She just slides her little body through this thing and she's just, what keeps her warm is not a blanket, but it's the banana leaves at night, right? So just yucca, right? And top of all the bugs that she's sleeping with every day, which is sad. Why is she sleeping like that? Because the earthquake destroyed her whole family. Did you hear me? It destroyed the whole family. Her children, her grandchildren, her relatives. And so somebody is allowing her to squat on their little speck of land, and this is now her home. So my desire is to see a home be built for her, and I'm sure she'd allow other grandmas who are in the same place to live with her because she's going to have this blessing of this house. So is it possible, right? Think about this. Is it possible to, with the money you're already making, be able to take care of some of those people that your heart just breaks for, and be able to take your family on wonderful vacations, and work part-time because you're a full-time parent and a full-time spouse? You got a house to take care of full-time, like the laundry that's talking to me right now? Okay, is it possible to design the life that you want to live? Is it possible? I'm here to tell you it is. It is, friend. I've lived it for almost 19 years. And it was a hard change, but I'm so glad I made it, that I began to think about, how do I want to live? What do I want that to look like? And then what needs to change in me so that I can live that? So now every month we're taking care of thousands of people who can't feed themselves, and I work 20 hours a week and we vacation several times a year, all by design. We're going to show you how right here today on The Dani Johnson Show. We'll continue with more after this.
Don't go away. The next segment might just change your life. This is The Dani Johnson Show.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
More resources, more training, more results. The DaniJohnson.com Insider Membership is your ultimate success shortcut. Get exclusive access to reports, videos, audios, ebooks, cheat sheets, and other training for your personal and professional life. This is truly DaniJohnson.com's best kept secret. Become an Insider member today and get on the fast track to success.
Helping you get a grip on your priorities and your focus. The Dani Johnson Show. Here's Dani Johnson.
I feed my family on less than $100 a week. Yes, less than $100 a week. And I'm a gourmet cook on $100 a week. 6 minimum at the table, and sometimes more, sometimes less. I cook 6 nights a week. What if there's a way I could show you how to do it? Well, I've showed hundreds of thousands of people how to do that on our website, DaniJohnson.com. with our systems, our personal finance trainings that are available on that site. Well, what we're going to do today is we are going to knock over just the grocery bill. We're going to knock over, making a trade between how much we're spending on groceries versus saving money on that grocery bill and then pointing that money to things that are much more important. Is paying off debt more important? You want to become debt-free? Well, you can take a portion of that grocery bill and attack your debt with it. You can take in a portion of that grocery bill and begin to save for that dream vacation or sending the kids to college or paying for the wedding that you got coming up for your daughter. All on the grocery bill, Dani Johnson? No way. That's impossible. I promise you it is. Because if I can feed my family on less than $100 a week and I'm a gourmet cook, then you, my friend, can learn to do the same thing. So going over to the phones because we are going to be taking your call live on tips that you have learned that are saving you money on your grocery bill and then places that you're pointing the money instead. 844-200-3264. If you need help in that area, call in. I'm willing to spend this entire show revamping your grocery bill so that you can save money and point that money to places that are much more important. 844-200-3264. Again, that's 844-200-3264. If you have found solutions, we want to hear about them. Or if you're looking for a solution, call us right now because you need to be saving money on your food bill. I've been coaching people for 20 plus years, and I can tell you when it comes to finances, the biggest place where people blow the most is with food. And then they end up throwing it away. That used to be us. Yes. Oh my gosh. We used to throw away so much food with no guilt, no shame, no conscience, no nothing. No big deal. We didn't need it. It's a science project. Toss that thing in the trash or give it to the dog, right? Yes. Like not even thinking twice about it. Not even thinking, wow, maybe we should eat this. And why are we buying more food when we have so much food still left in our house? Never even thought of that. Until something really dynamic happened in my life and that forced me to look at how much we were spending there. But anyway, we got line 6. We've got Don from Edmond, Oklahoma. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, thanks.
Yes, go for it. What's your comment?
How are you?
Good.
Oh, good. Hey, I just wanted to let you know that since we plugged into the system, War on Debt, and learned how to grocery shop, our family of 4 plus, whoever shows up that night, we shopped this week for $65.71 with our meal plan.
Oh, my gosh.
And that included a couple of treats, like ice cream that we don't normally buy, but we did because we're doing a good job.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. Okay, so you managed to feed your family on 4 plus, right? Because there's always a few extras at the dinner table, on $65 this week. And you learned how to do that using War on Debt. Okay, now, Dawn, before War on Debt, right? Before I walked you through how to grocery shop and places where the money was going that was stupid, what was the grocery store bill for the same group of people?
Oh, I mean, it was double. I mean, we could spend upwards of $200 a week just going without a plan and buying whatever.
Yep. So in your case, what worked for you was meal planning. So coming up with a plan of what you're going to eat that week for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and buying only what was on that plan and sticking to that plan. And that has cut the food bill more than in half. So she went from $200 a week down to $65 this week simply by what? Meal planning. That's what I do every single week. I have a plan. We have the 7 days, what we're going to eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, who's around, who's going to be at that table. And again, there's always some extras that show up or there's some that don't show up. It goes either way. It really bothers me when someone doesn't show up. Yeah, like one of the kids are like, oh, I have to go. I made you food. Anyway, you're going to eat this. Anyway, so there you go. That was one short, quick tip from Don from Edmond, Oklahoma. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, meal planning. Meal planning. It only takes a little bit of time to sit down and figure out what you're going to cook that week. Make the list of groceries based on what you're going to cook and only buy what's on that list and eat everything that you bought before you go to the store the following week. And then what you can do, and this is what I have an entire folder filled with past week menus. So I don't have to guess. I can go, okay, I'm going to do 3 weeks ago. I'm going to do that this week or whatever. Anyway, we're going to continue with more great tips to saving money on your grocery bill right after this.
Coming up next, a testimonial on the war on debt and grocery shopping.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your freedom, your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
Hello.
Improving the quality of your life. The Dani Johnson Show.
I love it.
Come on. Quit living a boring life. What are you talking about, Dani? I don't live a boring life. Yes, you do. When's the last time? Hey, first of all, do you even have a passport? If you don't have a passport, you got a boring life. If your travel only is traveling the United States of America, hello, friend. There's a huge world out there. Have you ever noticed how small the USA is in comparison to the rest of the globe? I can't afford it, Dani, and I only get 2 weeks off of vacation a year. Come on, friend. This is no way to live. Do not allow your finances to dictate how you live. I promise you, I can show you on just your grocery bill alone how within a year you could be in some amazing exotic destination with your entire family just based on what you saved at the grocery store. That's what we're talking about today. We're talking about tips to paying off your debt or going on a great vacation just by what doesn't land in the grocery cart. This is Dani Johnson. We're taking your call. If you've got tips you'd like to share, 844-200-3264. If you need help and you need to know, how do I save money on my grocery bill? This hour is going to be packed. Actually, this whole 2 hours is going to be packed with tips that are going to help you, based on the experiences of our clients, as well as the listeners to the Dani Johnson Show, and or advice that's going to be given. We've got Jill from Key Largo, Florida. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, Dani. Thanks for having me. I have to say that War on Debt was my very first Dani Johnson experience, and it helped me immensely. And yet I'm still 3+ years later getting something out of it. And I recently caught something I heard you say over and over again, which is being faithful to do my part. Yep. Meaning if I'm a twosome, which I am with my fabulous Frenchman husband, then I have to be faithful to my end of things.
Yep.
And what really hit home, you told a story about 14 days on vacation, 7 days you took ownership in the cooking, the eating in, the staying on budget, and you shared with us that if Hans wanted to eat out the other 7 days, there was no stress, that you were War on Debting it on your side.
Yep.
And that was my huge takeaway. It was huge, Dani. It's not about making my other half fall into line and in the War on Debt way. It's about honoring him and my husband.
Yep. And having that compromise. Yep, and having that compromise, because just because we have the conviction to live rightly financially, right? Because we have that conviction and that passion to be financially responsible doesn't mean that our spouse has that same passion. It's awesome when they do, but I can tell you that often throughout my marriage, it hasn't been that way. Half the time it is that way, the other half the time it's not that way. I'm always the one that gleans more to really super frugal, and my husband is more of the guy that likes luxuries. And so I got to do my part, and I got to be responsible for my part, and I can't put my conviction on him. Now, I can tell you that whenever we've gone through the lean years, he's usually coming to me, Dani, what do we do? How about we, can you look to the, sure, honey, I'd be glad to. Anyway, but go ahead. So you stopped trying to change your husband and getting him to spend less, but instead you guys had a conversation and made a compromise. Yep. That's important.
He loves to eat out. And I don't judge him. I don't complain. I don't condemn. I take responsibility. I cook as many of the meals as I can in budget. And yes, the weight does come off. Plus, I feel better, and there's no stressing about it. There's no blame. And I love that freedom. Yep. Just in 1 month of implementing and catching this, that I have to take faith and responsibility for my part. Yep. Our eat out bill, dining out, went from $1,500 to $200.
Oh, my gosh.
With that extra money, yes. Hello, $1,300. We are going on vacation for 10 days, and we won't eat out for much of that time we are on vacation because I know how to get a cooler, put it in the back of the car, and plan. to eat on budget.
Yep.
It's great.
Yes. And you know what else I found on that note is that when we wives will plan ahead and keep food in their bodies, they'll tend not to eat out also. So that's amazing.
True.
It is true, because if you've got a cooler and let's say that you're preparing sandwiches, again, the stomach says, I got to eat now. And, for some reason, we live in this culture that says pull over, drive through, and you'll get it fast. Ain't faster than unwrapping that sandwich and shoving it down his throat as he's driving. And even paying attention to, like, what kind of a sandwich does he like? What kind of snacks does he like? Still, that is even cheaper than eating out, right? Driving through somewhere, that's still even cheaper. So, Jill, I'm really proud of you. Man, $1,500 stinking dollars for two people eating out. Any place that we can cut that. And again, taking the $1,300 of that, now let's go on a nice vacation. By the way, Jill, I know that you are one of our War on Debt soldiers, and you said that you started with War on Debt several years ago. Jill, how much debt total have you paid off, and how fast have you done it?
Okay, I have paid off a total of $532,491.34.
Oh my God.
And I know, right? That's crazy that I could have been in that much debt, first of all. But I've paid off over $500,000 of debt. And I did it, it's been 4 years, 4.5 years top that I've done that.
Wow.
And not all of it. I have to just clarify, because so many people think, well, oh my gosh, I could never pay that off. Some of it was forgiven.
Yes.
Just, you talk about this, you talk about, 7 years and things will be forgiven. And oh my goodness, it's so true.
Yeah.
If we just have faith.
Yes.
And we walk in faith and we take action.
Yes.
We don't just talk about it, but take the action. $100,000 debt was canceled.
Wow.
Done.
Now, check it out. Hold on one second, Jill, because I don't want to paint the wrong picture for anybody. I want to make sure that we're painting the right picture. Whenever, and I've said this so many times to so many people, whenever we become financially responsible and we begin to shore up, let's say in this case, that eating out bill or that grocery bill that where we're throwing away food, which means that is cash in the trash. It's not food we're throwing away. We're throwing away money. We're throwing away money. How sad is that? And that very action of throwing away food, which is throwing away money, shows that we don't respect the money and we don't respect what it took to make that money. We think of it as nothing. We don't value all that had to go into it to produce it. And so therefore, because we frivolously throw it in the trash when we're throwing food in the trash, this shows a lack of personal financial responsibility. So as Jill became, because I've coached Jill, as Jill became financially responsible. In fact, Jill, I want you to say this. How much debt had you paid off when that $100,000 worth of debt was forgiven?
Oh, let's see here. I had paid off $249, almost $250,000.
Yeah, so you'd already paid off $250,000 worth of debt. And now here's the deal. Because when you become financially responsible, now you're in line for that scripture of the wealth transfer, the wealth of the wicked being transferred to the righteous. When you become financially responsible, that is when debt cancellation you are now in line for. That doesn't mean, okay, I pay off $250,000 worth of debt and I'm going to wait for the rest of my debt to be paid off. No. That means that you are in line for that kind of a blessing for your part of your debt to now be canceled. But I think it's crazy how many people they're going to debt every single month, Jill, and they're standing on the scripture when they're financially irresponsible and standing on the scripture that God's going to cancel their debt. Or if they write this check to so-and-so evangelist from such and such a country for $2,000, then God is going to cancel their debt. He ain't going to cancel your debt if you're a financial fool. No way, because you'll wind up putting yourself in financial foolishness again, and financial foolishness leads to destruction. So, Jill, I'm so proud of you because you got financially responsible, and then you were able to reap the rewards. $500,000 worth of debt paid off. How does that feel?
Dani, it's so amazing. I can't even, and I look at money, you know, you once
Totally
told a
different.
story about how it's totally different. You see money signs over everything that you bought. Oh my goodness, the waste. I've been so wasteful, but I've forgiven myself about it.
Yes.
And not only in paying off more than $500,000 of debt, we've increased our income. Like, I've cut my hours, like you said, and my income is just flourishing.
Wow.
And now it's like, what do you do with the money? Okay, pay off more debt, pay off more debt.
Yeah.
And then you learn a little bit more because you need to gain another skill, and now we're investing.
Yes.
And it's just so, please, if you don't have war on debt, that's how I started. Before I went to First Step to Success, I had unwrapped the plastic on War on Debt, pushed play, and I paid off $100,000 before attending First Step.
Wow.
Just by pushing play over and over. And I keep forgetting. And then I push play again, and I'll remember, and then I'll pay off more debt. So, yes.
Man.
Dani, thank you.
Jill, I'm so proud of you. My gosh, $500,000 worth of debt. Jeez. And then just still learning. The fact that you're still humbling yourself and you're still learning that, it puts you as such a rare individual. Thanks, Jill, for sharing your story. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
Stay right here for more of The Dani Johnson Show. Did you know you can take The Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you.
Helping you get a grip on your priorities and your focus. The Dani Johnson Show. Here's Dani Johnson.
Phones are going crazy. People are really wanting to share how they have been able to save money on their grocery bills. Simple little tiny techniques that make all the difference in the world. Even taking someone's grocery bill from $1,000 a month down to just a couple $100 a month. Yes, it is possible. And then what do you do with the $800? Go on a vacation. Attack a credit card. I don't know, maybe help support your grandparents who can't take care of themselves. Or if you got a heart that's tugging towards getting kids out of the sex trade, put it towards that. 844-200-3264 if you want to share ways that you've saved on your grocery bill and or you need advice on how to do that. Call us right now, 844-200-3264. This last hour and a half has been packed with so much killer information on saving money just, again, in one little department, your grocery bill. All right, going over here, we got Erica from Falls Church, Virginia. Erica, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hey, Dani, how you doing?
Good. Go for it. What do you got to say?
So thank you for doing the War on Debt. So since applying the War on Debt principle to my family budget, I've been able to feed us maybe about $60 a week for 4 people. I have a 4-month-old and a 3-year-old. And one thing that I've learned, a technique that I'm using now as far as the grocery bill, is I don't go to name brand grocery stores like Harris Teeter and Safeway. I know their food is more expensive than like the other grocery stores, so I don't shop there. And I found a little grocery store that was referred to me by someone, and I only buy the fresh fruits and meats, and I make a list every time I go to the grocery store. I don't go hungry. I don't go like in the aisles like being nosy, like browsing. I just go off my list, and if I make a list and I meal plan and I happen to see a meat that is on sale that I can substitute, then I'll get that instead of actually getting what's on my list, and I get fruit and vegetables that are on sale.
Nice. Good job. Yes, substituting. It's okay. Now you said a whole bunch of stuff. So tell me this: you now are feeding your family on $60 a week. A family of 4.
Yes.
Okay. What were you?
I can do 60 or less depending on what we have.
Yeah. What were you spending before?
To be honest with you, I have no clue because I wasn't managing my money.
You weren't looking at the bank statement.
$200 a month.
Ow.
I was spending $200 a month just going to McDonald's when I actually looked at it. But as far as buying food in the house, I don't know that number.
Wow. So you were spending $200 a month at McDonald's. Now you are feeding a family of 4 on $60 or less a week. You shared so many great tips on what you learned from War on Debt. I'm so proud of you, Erica. And yes, meal planning is huge, but also sometimes the store doesn't have what you planned in the meal. And so sometimes you got to improvise in imperfection. I got to tell you this quick story. We were in Costa Rica, and again, I like to cook on vacation so that we can stay financially responsible. It's being frugal, even though my husband and I are financially independent. And even though we could have all 3 meals a day out there eating in restaurants when we're in a foreign country or even living in our own home, even though we can afford to do that, it's not the wisest use of money. It's foolishness to do that. Money towards food, it's ridiculous the high price that we pay when there's so many other things that we could be doing that are so much better for ourselves and better for other people that are around us. So here, my husband decides he wants to do he's a spontaneous guy in the house, not me. So here I bought food for the week, and here we had 2 extra days left in this house that we rented in Costa Rica. So he wants to go up to the mountains, and he wants to stay at this other place now, even though I've got this food that's left in the fridge. So I have a little bit of Italian sausage. I had a half of a bell pepper. I had a tomato, a half of an onion, a couple of pieces of garlic, and I had a pound of pasta, somewhere around that, okay? And all of this normally would have gone to waste, right? And I had a little bit of cream left over. And so here I look at this thing and I go, okay, what can I do? I just improvised an imperfection. I created a meal, which, by the way, is on our website. There's a video on our website that has this meal. And oh, hello. It is I actually teach you how to do it on this video. I was on a cooking show, and they had me. I said, this is what I'll cook. And again, it's just taking the things that are out of the fridge that usually are allowed to go bad that you throw in the trash and throwing it all together. And oh, my word. I put everything together and created this amazing pasta dish for a couple of bucks. This amazing pasta dish was put together and fed 10 people. Fed 10 people. It was so delicious. So you can get the recipe on DaniJohnson.com. So cheap, so good. And if you start thinking like that, how do I improvise an imperfection? How do I throw a bunch of stuff together and have it taste like it's completely gourmet? DaniJohnson.com is that site. We'll continue with more of the Dani Johnson Show right after this.
A food bill of only $100 a week for the family? Plan your meals and shop with a list. Next on the Dani Johnson Show.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
Now, more of the Dani Johnson Show.
There's starving people in Africa. You better finish everything that's on your plate. Stop throwing away food. Is that what your grandmother and your mother told you? I'll tell you what, they had a point. They really did. And I know that you were probably that rebellious kid that's and then pack it up and send it to them. Well, they were trying to teach you more than just a wasting food principle. It's about throwing money away, throwing cash in the trash every single time you take the rest of the food that's on your plate and you throw it in the trash, or every time you put it in a Tupperware container, it goes inside of your fridge and it turns into a science project, you threw cash in the trash. What about that steak dinner that you and your girlfriend had a week ago and the leftovers are still in your fridge, but it's not the same color? It doesn't quite look the same. Certainly doesn't smell the same. How much was that got thrown in the trash? You paid top dollar for that. Yeah, that food, that you and somebody else, you go and instead of splitting the meal, because, you could split the meal. And if you're still hungry, you can always order something else. Hello? You could always order something else if you're actually still hungry, but chances are you ain't going to still be hungry. Pile up on the bread. Pile up on what's free. Anyway, so we're talking about ways of saving money from the grocery bill and then taking that money and directing it to things that are far more important. Like what? I don't know. Do you got a vacation you want to go on? You know, you've always wanted to go to Antarctica. You're like, where's that? You need to get out more, dude. You really do. It's far away from here. Okay, what about Fiji, Bora Bora, Singapore, Hong Kong, Russia? Just was there in March. Russia, Finland, London. Gosh, great city. Great city. It's my favorite international city. What about Rome? Most beautiful city. Okay, most beautiful city actually is in Stockholm, Sweden. Wow, most beautiful city. I don't like cities, but wow, that city is wow, over the top, absolutely gorgeous. So you could go do that. Well, Dani, I don't want to travel. I got my hip out. Okay, well, do you have some debt? Why don't we save money on the grocery bill and go and attack your debt so you're not longer a slave in bondage to that suffocating thing called debt? Well, I don't have any debt. Okay, great. Well, does your heart tug on helping people? Or are you totally self-absorbed? Okay, why? Because you know what? Fida woke up this morning. She doesn't have a refrigerator. She doesn't have a pantry. She doesn't have a cupboard. She doesn't have any of that stuff. There's no washer and dryer. There's no dishwasher. There's no air conditioning. There's not even a home to speak of. We're talking about some scrap wood that was thrown together, nailed together, glued together, mudded together. And the roof is some old banana leaves. She's got 9 children in this little tiny box. And I mean tiny. The size of probably your walk-in closet is the size of this so-called home that has no kitchen, no bedroom, no pantry, nothing, no carpet, just dirt. This is a home. But an earthquake destroyed her home, destroyed her family members. She's got 9 kids now to feed. She can't just open up the pantry when a kid comes crying and shove something in their mouth. No, there is no food. Could you imagine? So let's say you save money on your grocery bill. And then you and I take a portion of that money and we go help build a house for Fida and her 9 children. Come on, think about it. Or what if we help right down the way in the same village as this grandma? I can't pronounce her name, but this grandma who literally it's not a tent. I wish it was a tent, but it's just banana leaves and other branches that have been put together, not as tall as a teepee, but just kind of over a string. And she just slides her little frail body into that each night as she sleeps. Why? Where's her family? They got killed in an earthquake. And whoever didn't die in the earthquake, they died from the contaminated water that the earthquake brought. Or they died of starvation because the crops were completely demolished and now the water was contaminated, so the food now is contaminated. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if we save money on the grocery bill, we can do great things together. We literally could do great things together. We can take that money and help build this grandma a home in a village that has been forsaken and forgotten by the Red Cross and everybody else in United Way. Everyone that jumped in and said, oh, we're going to help Haiti. Yeah, as soon as the publicity was gone, they came out. But we're still there. And we're rebuilding this whole village, bringing in 200 jobs by starting a sugar plant. Because they can grow sugar and they know what to do with it. And they can make sugar products from it and sell it. So we're going to supply 200 jobs. You and I, your kids and my kids. Come on, let's do it together. Go to kingsransom.org, okay? kingsransom.org. Put purpose to money, and you'll find your life will be so much more fulfilling and satisfying every single day on that job, every dime that you're making. If you're just taking $1 out of every dollar, if you take $1 for every 10 that you make, 1 penny for every 10 cents that you make, and we put it together. I'll put it with mine. I take $1 out of every day. I take 10 cents for every dollar that I make, and we put it towards projects like Kadwa Haiti. Kingsransom.org. Again, that's kingsransom.org. Give what you can. Is it $1? Is it $2? Is it $100? Is it $1,000? Is it $10,000? Only costs $6,400 to build someone like this grandma a brand new earthquake, hurricane-proof home. That's what we get to give her. Okay? Or Fida with her 9 children and the many others that are out there just like them. Okay? We're not talking buying them a washing machine. We're talking about a safe home that has running water in it and then food supply and clean water. We're going to bring in 2 water sources that are going to give them clean water for the rest of their lives. Could you imagine? You're an answer to prayer. kingsransom.org. Again, that's kingsransom.org. Kadwa, Haiti is the village that we are rebuilding. Kadwa, Haiti. It's right there on the front page. So go and do what you can. Okay, so we're giving advice on ways to save money on the grocery bill, and you can take the savings and go do something great with it, like building homes for people. All right, so we've got Emily from Baltimore, Maryland. Emily, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hey, Dani.
Hi.
Nice to be on the show. Thank you for accepting my call. I wanted to share a little bit of what's happened after I actually started following directions and applying the Warren Dot strategies that I had learned a while back, but then actually applying them. And I was spending about $150 every 2 weeks for just myself, doing grocery shopping and really justifying it because I thought it was healthy and I was eating healthy, so I was living better. And once I actually started applying the strategies, I realized not only was I wasting food and my hard-earned money, but I started eating from my pantry and am able to spend now $20 a week on food, and sometimes even less because I can plan ahead of time and actually spend less for my pantry. And I also have been able to trim a little bit of fat from my body because I started really making it a habit to take my lunch to work. So I'm not tempted to eat out. And so I've saved a lot of money at the grocery store, but I've also saved even more not eating out. I was spending over $300 a month for me.
Whoa. Hold on a second here. Okay, so you were spending $300 a month from eating out and then $200 a month on a grocery bill?
Yeah, just about.
$500 a month for a single person. Yep.
Yes.
That's the average that I see, Emily. You are not alone. I'm telling you, thousands and thousands of people that I've encountered, single people especially, spend more money on food than entire families do. And $500 a month for a single person in food? Okay, so now you're lost weight because you stopped eating out so much, right? And you know what else this does? Right when you said you started packing a lunch, here's what came to my mind. This was crazy. What I saw was, as I pictured you out to lunch. Now, let's picture all of ourselves out to lunch. What are we opening before us? A menu that is giving us what? All kinds of options to choose from. Versus packing ourselves a lunch. Thinking ahead. Packing ourselves a lunch, we don't have to deal with the stress of, what am I going to eat? It's in front of us. Our lunch is in our bag, in our backpack or our purse or our car or whatever. And so this way, it's like putting ourselves in front of options entices us, seduces us into eating things that are really bad for us. Even if you're eating at a healthy place, the more options we have, the more options we seem to partake of. And things that we were not craving, but now because we can read it, oh, that looks so good and that sounds so good. Isn't that so true? We were not thinking about eating the cheesecake before we walked into that restaurant. We weren't thinking about having the hot fudge sundae before we walked in that restaurant. We were just walking to the restaurant to have lunch. But then all of a sudden they put that option in front of us and bam, we're like, ah. You know what's really bad for me? I know desserts are so bad for me, especially there's this one place in town that has the best desserts. I ain't going to tell you who they are, but they have the best desserts in town. And do you know what I find myself doing? I rather skip dinner and order 2 desserts. I rather split a dinner with my husband and order 2 desserts because I want to taste that marble cake and I want to taste the pina colada cake. I want to try both of them. But prior to stepping foot in that place, I wasn't thinking about dessert. I was not thinking about eating 2 desserts. But because they put the option in front of me, yikes! Options will make you fat. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
On the Dani Johnson Show next, food for thought. It really is no sacrifice or compromise to save on your food bill.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
We're back. Here's Dani Johnson.
You just gotta say no to that thing, those options sometimes, because friend, you have more important things to do with your life than spend $500 a month on food for a single person. Come on. That's crazy. Think about how many powerful things you could do, like annihilate your debt, plan for a great vacation, or take care of the poor, or take care of your family. There's so much more you could do that's so much more purposeful than blowing money in stupid places on your grocery bill or your eating out bill. That's what we've been talking about for almost the last 2 hours. We got several people on hold waiting to share more about how they've been able to save money on their grocery bill using a simple system called War on Debt. These tips, I'm telling you, they're going to save you so much money your head's going to spin. All right, so next we have Casey from Caryville, Tennessee. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Dani. I have War on Debt, and I've watched the video of you in the grocery store several times, but I still struggle with how to spend less.
How much are you spending?
I don't know about weekly, but like around $350 a month.
For one person?
No, for 3 people.
For 3 people.
But I find myself buying junk.
So, Casey, why don't you just stop struggling and stop buying junk? Period. It's really simple.
Yeah.
Either you're going to live your life through your stomach or you're going to live your life through wisdom. You're going to have to pick the choice, girlfriend. I had to make that choice. You heard everybody else that's been talking about on this show. They've had to make that choice. The choice is yours. Junk is going to make you fat. Junk is going to make the family fat. Junk is going to kill you sooner. Junk is going to rob your sleep. Junk is going to make your joints hurt. You're still too young. You don't know what junk is going to do to you, but I promise you, girlfriend, within 10 years, yeah, that pizza is going to make your eyes puffy. You're going to have suitcases underneath your eyes, and you can like pick them up. Pick them up, put them down. Pick them up, put them down. Yep. You're going to notice that your joints, your hands in the morning after eating that ice cream sundae, your hands are not going to move the way they're supposed to. You're going to get out of bed and your knees are going to start hurting. Eventually, you're going to have to make the choice. So either you get to do it while you're young or you get to wait until you have pain medication for all the food that you put in your body that was called junk. So it's your choice. Junk in, junk out, baby. And junk is expensive. Very, very expensive. Choice is yours, honey. Choice is yours. All right, we got Eric from Wisconsin. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, Dani. I just have a question. I was recently diagnosed with a disability, and so I have not been able to work. My income has been reduced pretty drastically, and I've been struggling to maintain my $100 a week budget for my family of 5. I didn't know if you had any suggestions how I can still somewhat eat clean and still provide food for my family of 5 on my budget.
Well, I feed 6 to 8 on less than $100 a week. What the heck are you buying? You're spending more than you should.
Most of the time, the organic stuff that we have here is usually expensive, especially as we're starting to get into the winter months. So summer is usually not as bad because I'm able to get fruits and vegetables for cheaper, but once winter hits, that's when the prices I see skyrocket up, and it's hard for me to continue to provide for them with that same budget in the winter months.
Right. So you're going to have to make some choices. I would be seeing what you're getting on sale, what you can cut up and throw in your freezer for the winter months. Do you know what I'm saying? I would be looking for other ways to feed the family. And I'd also be doing some research on what is necessary to have organic and what is not necessary to have organic, because you don't have to have everything organic. There's some fruits and vegetables where it is an absolute wash. For example, oranges, lemons, and avocado, thick-skinned items, they say is totally unnecessary to have organic. And there's a lot of foods that are non-GMO. And so you might want to gravitate towards some of those kinds of things. So really, it's like this, Erin. If you really want to do it on $100 a week, I've been doing it on $100 a week in organic for years. So, and I feed more people than you do. So it seems to me that there might be some luxuries in there, and that's what you have to assess. No juice. No fruit roll-ups. These things are stupid, okay? No organic potato chips. They're far more expensive. Make popcorn if somebody wants a snack. It's super cheap, and you can get bulk popcorn really, really cheap. I would be gravitating to some Mexican-type stuff. Beans are cheap. You can also buy in a little bit of bulk. Not a lot of bulk, but a little bit of bulk. Some beans, making things in advance to freeze for the future for some of those winter months. The bottom line is if you limit yourself to a certain budget, you won't spend more than that, Erin. You simply are justifying your spending by saying it's more expensive during the winter. Well, it's because you're buying more expensive during the winter. If the budget is $100 or less, then it's $100 or less, and you'll figure out a way to fit it in. That's the bottom line. So you're either going to have the excuse or you're going to have the result. I hope you go for the result. That choice is yours. Okay, I've got, what a great name. Sunshine from Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, Dani. I am so excited. Since I got back from First Step in San Antonio and started applying War on Debt, our grocery bill has gone from $400 every 2 weeks. And then some, because we would also go to the store and pick up stuff here and there. So it's probably, closer to $900 to almost $1,000 a month at that point, and some of it going on credit, to getting it down to, it's been so far $150 or less per week for the past 3 weeks. It was $132, then $117, and then $149 last week. We had some extra things we had to get, like
condiments
and stuff.
Exactly.
That we had before and didn't.
Yep.
And so, like toilet paper or paper towels, where I didn't have to the weeks before that because we were using what we had. We do have special needs as far as dietary concerns go. We have a child on the spectrum who has food issues and has to eat gluten-free, casein-free, and I have to eat for insulin resistance. So I am working my tail off trying to get it down to that $100 per week.
But to get it, to go from $200, to go from over $200 a week to now where you're at, this is huge, Sunshine. And by the way, it is simple to do gluten-free. Again, this is what we do. And by the way, paper towels, why are you buying them? Paper towels are a complete waste of money. Any cleaning wipes are a complete waste of money. And so look at the places where, here's what happens. We justify our spending because we are attached to something. So same like with the gluten-free people. Right? This one cracks me up. So gluten-free people, before they had all those gluten-free expensive products, what did gluten-free people eat? Rice. Duh. They just didn't eat pasta. They just didn't eat bread like the rest of the diabetics that are out there. No big deal. So just because the market has made it available to have gluten-free pasta, gluten-free cereal, gluten-free ice cream, gluten-free sauces, don't buy them. You don't need to buy them just because they say gluten-free. There's another way to eat if you cannot have wheat. Just don't eat the wheat. Eat rice. Eat vegetables. There's a ton of foods that are gluten-free. A ton of them. And same with the insulin thing that you were mentioning. Same thing. What did people do before the market made all those things really expensive? We ate what didn't kill us. So there you go. You just saved another $30 a month on your food bill. It's real simple, right? What happened when kids were allergic to milk? They just don't drink milk. It doesn't mean you buy soy milk or almond milk that's like 5 times the price. It means you just don't drink milk. This is Dani Johnson. Thanks so much for joining me today. I know you saved money today on your grocery bill. We'll talk to you tomorrow with some awesome tips to help you improve your life. God bless.
If this episode was an encouragement to you, go to DaniJohnson.com and share it with your friends now. You never know who else needs to hear it. This has been The Dani Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.